Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Noble, along with Wofford head football coach Sean Watson. It is time for another edition of Inside Wofford Football, brought to you, as always, by Yokohama. Saturday, Blacksburg, Virginia. Tall order, a Virginia Tech team that had been going through some changes. Wofford goes up there, and I guess the first thing to point out, Coach, is you guys were without a lot of guys. You had some guys banged up, by my count, 6 or 7 starters on either side of the football. So in the grand scheme of things, in the 38-6 final at Virginia Tech, going in there, what did you expect, and did it go kind of the way you thought maybe with all those losses?
Well, we number one, we are playing with a young roster. We had 26 kids, 13 on offense, 13 on defense, actually getting their first action. So, that's a lot of guys. Then we've got some guys down, hurt, and those guys now are playing more. Now I look at it, the positive. The positive is we have a young, talented football team, and they're getting more experience, and that's going to bode well for us as we move down the road. And we've got to keep doing our job as coaches, keep coaching, and keep moving us in a positive direction.
Having said that, does the bye week come at a good time for you, both physically and maybe mentally after 4 games?
Yeah, it does. I think we need to gather our BBs. You mentioned the guys that are hurt. Losing CJ, first name that always comes to my mind. He we'll have him back when we roll off of this break. So we need. This is a good time for a break, and then we'll get, Mason Howard should be back. So we'll get some guys back that we've really missed, and we miss their experience. Those are 2 players that have experience and
Absolutely.
have a lot of it.
All right, well, coming up, we'll take a quick look back at the Virginia Tech game. We will see how the Terriers approach this bye week on and off the field. Take a look at the Southern Conference. Some teams have played 2 games. Some teams haven't played any. Terriers have played 1. We'll look at the crazy goings-on in the SoCon thus far. It's all ahead here on Inside Wofford Football. And welcome back, everybody. Beautiful day Saturday in Blacksburg, Virginia for Wofford and Virginia Tech. They, of course, have a coaching change over the weekend, bring in interim coach Philip Montgomery. So they were looking to make a statement, I think, with their fans. Who were a little disgruntled at the way they'd started off the season. But on the opening drive, while they go down the field, you guys start the day off with a great 4th and goal stop. Seth Foster and O'Marion Brown had gotten in there on a couple of plays and really made them fight for every yard they had. How good did you feel about that first sequence?
That was a great start. Stop. We, a defense coach should tell you, I didn't want him to get that far. So they got down there in the tight red and went forward on 4th down, and the guys came up with a huge stop. So that was a great job by our short yardage defense.
I know offensively it was tough. They got some great athletes on defense. A former Wofford defensive coordinator, Sam Sifkas, they were blitzing a lot, especially at the outset. I thought Jaden Whitaker showed a lot of toughness. He stood in there, took some hits. The results probably not what you wanted, but were there some things you saw from Jaden filling in for the injured Ethan Drum that made you feel better about his progress?
Well, he played better. His level of play went up, and we're really starting to. We know him better now. Especially in game situations, and we're able to tweak things towards what he does well. And he's getting better at it. He's getting more confidence in it. And it's with a quarterback, they've got to be out there in the action. And there's things that we need to continue to grow him in. So, it's still a process. He's really playing in his 2nd year. So we got to keep growing him.
Defensively, I know tackling was an issue Saturday, but man, Those are some good athletes. Those are some shifty guys. They get the ball to their guys in space, and a lot of time it comes down to a one-on-one tackle. Is that a function of the level of competition, why we saw a few missed tackles out there?
Well, I think it's they do have great athletes, but we at the same time have we have good athletes too, and we're really well coached. And we lost some leverage on the football. Again, those were some of the younger kids that were seeing their action maybe for the first time. They lost. We lost leverage, and then the pursuit piece of it. There were the two things that our defensive staff, after the game was over, we will address, because we're playing a lot of young dudes, and we've got to teach them that leverage and then the pursuit aspect of it, which gets taught every day, and then we just got to continue to emphasize that.
You got on the board right before halftime. Sam Spence, a long field goal, kind of into a little bit of a breeze too. Sam has really kind of grabbed this place-kicking job and been lights out ever since he took over.
He has. He's done a nice job. We've had competition throughout the entire training camp and throughout the season. And Sam's really locked down that position as we sit here right now.
21-3 at halftime, and in the second half, Virginia Tech really possessed the ball for a long time, and that was the biggest problem in terms of both total yards and time of possession. Your kids continued to fight, though. As that second half progressed, you played a lot of guys. I'm going 3, 4, 5 deep down the roster, looking at some of these kids who are getting their first taste of Division I football. As it all kind of unfolded in the second half, how did you feel about the effort level there?
Well, the effort's always there. Our kids are great kids, and they're eager to please, and they always want to do the right thing. So, their effort was good. We feel like we have to continue to coach them and teach them the things they don't know, because there's a lot of young guys out there like you just mentioned, and it's the growth and development aspect of it is really what college football has become today.
38-6, the final. By the way, I love the black jerseys and the gold pants. A great classic look for Wofford in that one. We may see that one at home again later in the year. When we come back, we will take a look at how the Terriers approach the bye week before 3 straight home games at Gibbs Stadium. That is next on Inside Wofford Football, brought to you by Yokohama.
It doesn't matter if you're 8 years old or 80 years old, your body is your strongest tool. Spartanburg Regional Sports Medicine Institute is here to push you to the next level. With 2 convenient locations, our doctors can diagnose, treat, and heal at our North Grove Medical Park and Star Center offices to get you back in the gym, in the game, and to the next level. We never quit because you never quit. For more information, call 560-BONE.
Well, after the first 4 games of the season, the Terriers get a welcome rest week. Rest for the players. I don't think the coaches ever rest here in this building. At 0-4, but only 0-1 in the conference. How do you approach the 2 weeks? How much do you work on yourselves, Coach, and how much do you start looking forward to the next game?
We'll do a little bit of both. I mean, a lot of really, honestly speaking, the first part of our week, yesterday, Sunday, today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll spend on us. Things we'll self-scout. We got both sides of the ball. Our quality control coaches, actually bringing some things to the table, tendencies, and as they see it offensively, defensively, to help both sides of the ball out. And then we as a staff, what are we doing well? What do we need to get better at? And how do we address those things in practice to continue to move and grow the team forward? So, we'll spend that. It'll be on us. And then we will obviously have a chance to, and we already started, the breakdown and, game planning, of Western Carolina, which is going to be a big part of it too. And by the time we get to Thursday, Sunday, we'll be actually prepping for them.
Some of the younger guys on the roster, particularly ones that didn't lose a lot of football games in high school, might be down a little bit at this point of year. I know you've talked about your leadership council on the team, your upperclassmen, your fifth years especially. How key a role do they have in terms of the collective mindset of the team, getting everybody ready to go for the Southern Conference wars, which are really all ahead of us just about?
Right. Well, if you look at our conference, it's up for grabs. It's like you mentioned, some guys have played 1, some have played 2, some have played none. We still don't know what that all looks like. If any indication is, we played Mercer. Mercer had a road win, a nice one against the Citadel, and you start looking at matchups, not only in our league but other matchups nationally with other FCS teams, and you can see just there's opportunities, a lot of opportunities. So we still feel like we have a lot of good football and a lot of goals that are still in front of us that we can achieve. And our mission, the Leadership Council, that was really our fifth-year seniors and our seniors, is to continue to grow, push our guys forward. And it always starts with them being the example, and they are. They're example in the building, they're example in the weight room, they're example on the practice field. So I feel good about their leadership and them moving us forward, helping us as coaches.
Now that you mentioned the Southern Conference, there's a national perception in some of the writers I've seen that the conference overall is down. The conference tends to eat each other up during this season. And a lot of the out-of-conference games haven't gone well because of some tough scheduling, among other things. Do you agree with that perception?
I really concentrate and focus on our business. I am a national voter, so I do get to see a lot of the football. And I think, what you see across the country is everybody is, migrating this new model of football. And it's different. It depends on what league you're in, depends on the locality of the country you're coming out of. You can see there's some real trends. I think by and large, what's that mean? Every year we're going to be putting together a new team. And I think a lot of people in our league have had to do that themselves. So I think a lot remains to be seen. And as we get into league play, obviously that'll start unfolding.
Before we let you go, 3 straight home games coming up after the bye. The first one will be Western Carolina, who just put up 700-something yards of total offense in their win against Samford. They've got their quarterback back. When you get into game plan and game week with Western Carolina, is that job one trying to slow down a very, very potent offense?
Yeah, again, we're going to go back to us first. We still make things around here about us and us continue to move us forward and, progressing our players. And then, we, obviously got that big job, because they are a potent offense and, they've got their kid back from last year. Really, he played last year and we thought it was a great player. And he's proven to be that kid this year. So he'll be somebody that we have to slow down, and then he's got all kinds of toys around him. So, our defense staff is, they're burning the midnight oil even in a bye week, we'll start working on figuring them out too.
Well, we want to see everybody out for the next 3 at Gibbs Stadium. It all begins Saturday, 1:30 p.m., 2 Saturdays from now. Let's not forget about the bye week. It'll be Wofford and Western Carolina at Gibbs Stadium. So have a great time. I know you'll be burning the midnight oil, like you say, you and your coaches, but we can't wait to get back on the field. I'm already juiced up, and we still have a while to go before our next game. As always, thanks for your time, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you for joining us. Thanks to our entire video crew, sports information crew, everybody that makes Inside Wofford football possible. For Sean Watson, I'm Jim Noble. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time here on Inside Wofford Football.